Right now, the race for Wisconsin governor is heating up as two more candidates enter the race this week. What U.S. Representative Tom Tiffany told us about his campaign plans.
And skies are clearing out for parts of southern Wisconsin. How long will the sunny conditions last? Do we have any rainfall in the forecast? I'll let you know in just a couple minutes.
And later, Wisconsin football head coach Luke Fickell has gotten some criticism after two decisive losses the last 2 weeks. We'll hear from fans how they're feeling about the rest of the season. And we welcome you to News 3 Now at 6. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Eric Franke.
And I'm Sarah Carlson. U.S. Republican Congressman Tom Tiffany is looking for a new title, Wisconsin governor.
After months of speculation, Congressman Tiffany joined the race yesterday. And then earlier today, he was right here in our News 3 Now studios, sitting down with our For the Record host, Ellie La Liberté.
Congressman Tom Tiffany declared his run for governor on Tuesday. Now, he already hit the ground running, touring multiple cities across the state. And he told me in our conversation that he's confident that he's the leader Wisconsin needs. Now, a little background on Representative Tiffany. He represents the 7th Congressional District in northern Wisconsin. That's after he won a special election in 2020. In his campaign video, he listed priorities as protecting Wisconsin farmers, freezing property taxes, and keeping transgender students out of girls' sports.
There's a lot of ways in which Wisconsin is not keeping up with the states that are really prosperous in America. We can do better. We need good leadership. I believe I can provide it.
And so you're kind of seen as a Trump loyalist. How do you think that that will play in a purple state here in Wisconsin?
Well, I think once people get to know me, they'll know I'm my own man. Now, the president has done some good things for America, and I certainly support his agenda. But they're going to find out that I'm my own man. I'll make my own decisions in regards to what needs to get done here.
Tiffany also defending Trump's tariffs and the spending and tax cuts that will cost 270,000 Wisconsinites their health insurance, according to the Wisconsin Department of Health Services. You can see that full conversation with Congressman Tom Tiffany up right now on channel3000.com.
Ellie, thank you. Tiffany joins businessman Bill Berrien and Washington County Executive Josh Schoeman in the race as the Republican candidates who have entered so far.
Well, and Representative Tiffany, not the only one joining the race this week. Today, former Wisconsin State Representative Brett Hulsey announced he's running for governor. Hulsey served in the Assembly for 4 years, and during which he drew strong criticism at times from members of his own party. Hulsey opposed then-Governor Walker's Act 10. He ran for governor 8 years ago, but lost in the primary to Mary Burke. While announcing he would run again today, Hulsey was asked what makes this time around different.
But I got 52,000 votes. I didn't spend much of my own money, and this time I'm more serious. My plan is to have a crew of homeless people canvassing.
Hulsey says he'll be canvassing at the Dane County Farmers Market this weekend. In addition to being cited for disorderly conduct, he was also investigated for carrying a box cutter inside the Capitol and threatening to bring a rifle onto the Assembly floor. And Hulsey joins 5 other Democrats currently in the running. That includes Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez, Milwaukee County Exec David Crowley, State Representative Francesca Hong, State Senator Kelda Roys, and beer vendor Ryan Sternad.
Well, it's been cloudy for most of the day, but not a lot of rain at this point. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington for the forecast. Any rain on the way?
No, and if you want some rain in the forecast, unfortunately, this is not the forecast for you. Next 7 days, nothing. Mainly dry all the way through. Unfortunately, it's going to last all the way through the next 10 days. I know there's some folks that want to get some water in the soil, but I don't want to dismiss our farmers that appreciate the dry weather because it helps out with the harvest. But with the temperature or with the precipitation chances being very, very low out there, we will have the sun return, and then that warm weather is going to last all the way out into next week. In a couple of minutes when I come back, I'm excited to show you if you want summer-like temperatures, we've got those temperatures that are going to be in the forecast and in your favor. And those temperatures out there right now, we got 64 in Madison, 64 right now in Lone Rock, 62 in the Dells, and 66 in Janesville. Planning the night tonight, temperatures falling down to right around 60. Ready to join us again for the 10 o'clock newscast. So a beautiful fall-like evening in store for the area, and temperatures back down into the 50s overnight tonight. When I come back in a few minutes, we'll talk about the temperatures, how long they're going to stay warm, and if we have any fog in the forecast. That's coming up.
Okay, thank you, Alex. New tonight, the Sun Prairie Area School District's Human Resources Director is under investigation. The Department of Public Instruction is investigating that administrator license of Chris Sadler. Sadler has held a lifetime license since 2017. Personnel records released this week show that he was heavily involved in the internal investigations of former Sun Prairie West High School Dean Robert Gilkey Meissegeyer. Gilkey Meissegeyer is charged with 2 counts of child sexual exploitation and 13 counts of possessing child sex abuse material. Records show Sadler spoke to one of the former dean's alleged victims and her mother and decided there was no evidence of an inappropriate relationship. However, Sadler's role requires him to report that incident to police regardless of what he finds. He is not the first Sun Prairie school staffer under investigation since Gilkey Meissegeyer's arrest.
An interstate cartel retail theft ring that operated in Wisconsin has been caught in Kenosha. Known as the Cartel La Familia Michoacana, this group, some of whom were considered, quote, high-level cartel members, was observed allegedly committing thefts in Pleasant Prairie back on April 6th. Just 4 days later, Kenosha County Sheriff's deputies detained several group members. Police said the suspects were in possession of more than $21,000 worth of stolen retail merchandise from Madison. 8 members were taken into custody. 4 of them were deported to Mexico. The group is believed to be responsible for more than $100 million worth of thefts every year in the U.S. Some streets on Madison's southwest side were closed down by police earlier today. Excuse me, Madison police were blocking off a part of Schrader Road just before 5 this evening for a report of a person shooting a gun in the area. So far, the department has not released any other information at this time. We hope to have an update tonight on News 3 Now at 10, as well as online at channel3000.com.
Well, the Badger football team is coming off a convincing loss in its Big Ten opener to Maryland, and that's leading to more criticism of head coach Luke Fickell.
Our Jalen Banks brings us how students and other observers feel as the team heads into a much-needed bye week.
The Badger football team is currently sitting at 2-2 heading into their bye week. However, they're coming off a disappointing loss against Maryland. I spent the day catching up with students on their thoughts about head coach Luke Fickell and the team. Many were excited when the University of Wisconsin hired head coach Luke Fickell, who saw tremendous success at the University of Cincinnati. His time at UW has been a mixed bag, making a bowl game in his first season, failing to make one in his second, and sitting at 2-2 through his first 4 games of his third season, with double-digit losses to both Alabama and Maryland. The Badgers now head into a bye week with a tough remaining schedule after. Earlier this week, one of the most prominent figures in all of Wisconsin athletics gave his thoughts on the team up to this point.
I did not think that team was that much better than us, but they played better. I just disappointed. But in the same respect, anybody that's ever been in that business, it's happened to. And now it's the coach's responsibility and the player's responsibility to bounce back.
And speaking to students on campus, thoughts on the team are pretty mixed.
A lot of us like going to the games and we're going to be there. Like, we'll support the team, but if the team isn't playing well, like, it's not a good look.
I don't know. I feel like at any point we could get better, maybe. I don't know.
I see all this Fire Fickell stuff, and I kind of agree, but I also think, like, we don't know enough to be like, it's the head coach.
As for the rest of the season, Alvarez sees a path forward.
You're playing to win the next game. That's your goal. Win the next game. Then next week it's that game. You don't need to get any further than that. You know, you set goals in the early season, what you want to do for the season. That's out the window. Now it's week to week. The Badgers' next go at turning this season around will be Saturday, October 4th, where they'll face off against the Michigan Wolverines. For now, reporting at Camp Randall, Jalen Banks, News 3 Now.
Well, Wisconsin is one step closer to getting its long-awaited first Buc-ee's restaurant. Yesterday, the City of Oak Creek Planning Commission approved construction for the travel center chain. The store will be located at the intersection of South 27th Street and West Elm Road near I-94. But several residents voiced concerns during the public comment portion of the meeting, citing issues such as light, water, noise pollution, and increased traffic in the city.
I'm just asking for them to push pause, to slow it down, and to present the facts, and to not limit our comments to a 2-minute soundbite or not at all.
Once we get settled in and everybody settles in around us, I'm telling you, there aren't many people in the 36 locations where we are and the many more to come that as the mayor said, wouldn't tell you they'd like another one.
Back in 2023, Buc-ee's announced plans to expand to deforest along Interstate 3990-94, just north of County Highway V and east of Highway I. Developers hope to break ground in 2024 and open late this year. However, plans have been put on hold due to a deficit. Well, coming up next on News 3 Now at 6, a UW assistant professor testifies on the importance of fusion research.
Plus, if you're in the market for a pre-owned vehicle, well, be prepared for some sticker shock. How much more you'll be paying. Stay with us.
Watching News 3 Now at 6.
An interesting story here. An assistant professor at UW-Madison is looking to secure federal funding for what's called fusion research. Fusion is a dense form of energy that gets you about 1 million times more energy than a chemical reaction. Steffi Diem is the principal investigator of the Pegasus 3 experiment. They're studying innovations in startup techniques to reduce the cost and complexity of future fusion power plants. Now she's looking to secure $10 billion in funding for future projects.
What we study is, thinking about new technology that would be a way to start up future fusion devices. And it's really looking at how do you reduce the cost and complexity. And our technology looks at building, it looks kind of like a small lightsaber that injects, the fuel in it, and then we capture it by a magnetic field.
That'll be relatable. The Pegasus 3 experiment studies innovations in startup techniques to reduce the cost and complexity of these future fusion power plants. So far, 3 private companies have been made thanks to that work.
You sound like you know that stuff pretty well.
Yeah.
Well, the Trump administration's tariffs on imported cars and parts are rocking the auto industry. Edmunds Consumer Insight says used car prices skyrocketed during the early part of the pandemic, back when manufacturing and imports halted. The auto industry is still recovering from that. According to Edmunds, the average transaction price for cars that are 3 years old is more than $31 grand. That's up more than 5% just from last year. Automakers are also offering fewer deals these days, and buyers really don't have as much negotiating power. More people are also buying used, but there's not a lot of inventory out there, and fewer people are leasing cars. That's also hurting the pre-owned car market.
Those cars aren't coming back to dealer lots as used vehicles, which means inventory will remain stunted for quite a while.
The tariffs are also driving up the cost of repairs. Most imported car parts are facing a 25% tariff, and there's a separate 50% tariff on imported steel and aluminum, some of which ends up in car and truck production. The price of car repairs jumped 5% from July to August, according to the latest Consumer Price Index report, which measures inflation, and repair costs are up 15% from just a year ago.
Well, still ahead, some of TV's most iconic memorabilia is going up for auction. We'll take a look at some of the items.
Plus, the holidays usually mean retailers are looking for extra help, but that might not be the case this year. What new data is revealing?
And what's the weather looking like for the rest of the week? Alex is back with the complete forecast after this.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Well, with the holidays right around the corner, seasonal hiring activity is on pace to be the slowest since the Great Recession. According to new data, companies have announced just under 87,000 seasonal jobs so far. That's about half of the hires announced this time a year ago, and far below the more than 400,000 posted by this point in 2023. Now, economists say retailers are bracing for a weaker holiday shopping season, relying more on automation and efficiency rather than large waves of temporary hires.
Well, looking ahead to the weekend now, the True North Music and Food Festival is coming to the Duck Pond on Saturday. The festival features some of Madison's best chefs and emerging regional music. Our partner, Madison Magazine, is a proud sponsor of the event, and tickets can be found at truenorthfest.com. Prices begin at $15, and $2 from every ticket sold will benefit domestic abuse intervention services, as well as the Dane County Food Collective.
Well, the Coats for Kids campaign nearing its next milestone of 2,000 coats so far. We've collected 1,770 winter coats. We want to thank everyone who has donated so far. Now, if you'd still like to help out, here's how. We're looking for all kinds of winter coats, jackets, and accessories, especially for toddlers, infants. We also need those larger teen sizes. You can make donations at any Madison area Clinky Cleaners location now through October 4th. And if you're looking for other ways to help out, just head to channel3000.com/coats4kids to learn how you can make a difference.
Well, it's been dry and comfortable conditions going forward, too. Let's check back in with Alex for the complete forecast.
Yeah, Sarah, the next 10 days, southern Wisconsin, get ready for a summer-like stretch. stretch. After today's cool weather, we're back up to 74 on Thursday, all the way up to 82 on Monday, and then way out here in the 10 days, still 75 degrees. 10 days out there, and those temperatures normal for as we get to the end of September going into early October. Our high temperature should be in the 60s, and we don't see that in the forecast. We also don't see any rainfall of significance in the forecast either. And I know there's two sides to this coin. I know the soil needs the moisture and the watershed needs the moisture, but our farmer friends out there are actually enjoying this dry stretch here because that ensures that the soybeans can dry out and the corn can dry out for harvest. So two sides to that. And what do we got to know here in the three things you need to know? Well, this is of significance. Some patchy fog tonight. As I mentioned, sun is going to make a return and it's going to stay warm and dry for the next 10 days. But let's get that fog here in our forecast. Half-mile visibility, maybe 1/8 of a mile in Watertown, maybe locally down to 0 Thursday morning for work and for school. So just take it easy, as I always mention. Just give yourself a little extra distance if you run into some of those patchy, dense fog patches as we go into Thursday morning. And we could repeat that again as we go into Friday morning as well for work and for school. Lows tonight will be upper 40s to lower 50s. Again, that patchy fog. These temperatures are normal for this time of year. High temperatures, once the fog burns off as we go into Thursday, will make it into the mid to upper 70s. The longer the fog hangs around, the longer the low-level clouds hang around, that could mean temperatures a little cooler. But I think pretty optimistically we're going to see that sun make its comeback as we go into Thursday, late morning, going into the afternoon for highs well into the 70s. Here's that long stretch of temperatures, upper 70s, right around 80 by day here, every single day over the next 10 days, and lows in the 50s, low to mid 50s at that. So not looking at any high amounts of humidity, not looking at any big storms of significance as we go out here over the course of the next 10 days. And as I was mentioning at our 5 o'clock newscast, warmer than normal conditions, that's going to stick around clear into October, and drier than normal conditions, we're sitting pretty close to that. So again, that goes to substantiate, goes to support, even as we go further out into October, not seeing any big storms of significance. You're going to want to tune in tonight at 10. We'll do the latest on fall colors. So join us tonight at 10 to see just where some of those fall colors are starting to peak. Eric and Sarah, anything about that auction?
It's coming.
Oh boy, this is where I kind of wish I won the lottery.
It's her Halloween costume preparation.
Right. If you have some money in your extra money, big time, in your bank account, you can own some cool pieces of TV history.
That's right. Heritage Auctions hosting an auction of TV memorabilia. This will be October 24th. Now, some of the items, there it is. Fonzie's leather jacket worn by Henry Winkler on Happy Days. I've met him, by the way. I'm going to tell you, this is going to be a very small leather jacket. The original Batman and Robin costumes worn by Adam West and Burt Ward in the original Batman show from the 60s. And there are also original Star Trek uniforms of Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock. And of course, Sarah's Halloween costume that I mentioned earlier, it isn't this. It's the Wonder Woman costume. It was actually worn by Linda Carter. There's Fonzie's jacket. Do we not have the video or the picture of the Wonder Woman? That's going to make Sarah's night. The actual Wonder Woman costume worn by Linda Carter. They're also selling her magic gold bulletproof cuffs.
I actually looked the picture up too. She's so cool.
We don't have it, but it's pretty amazing. So you need to look into that.
Maybe I have it.
October 24th, just in time for Halloween.
I'll put it on my calendar.
All right, coming up, Badger men's and women's hockey teams getting ready to take the ice for the new season. We'll hear from both teams straight ahead in sports.
Well, Badger hockey season is on the horizon for both the women and the men.
Sports director Andrew Banstra caught up with each of the teams before they take the ice.
Let's play some puck. For my money, this is the best time of year. We've got postseason baseball coming up, football in full swing, volleyball is very close to starting Big Ten play, basketball on the horizon, and of course, hockey is just about here. Wisconsin women's hockey opens their season on Friday, looking to defend their record-setting 8th national championship.
Just makes that bullseye on our chest a little bit bigger than maybe it normally is in the early part of the season. So don't invest too much time and energy into that space other than how we can get better and what the next practice looks like. You can't look ahead of yourself. I mean, there's a cliche that, one game at a time and one practice, and that's where you need to be.
Meanwhile, Meanwhile, Wisconsin men's hockey looks to rebound from a second year under Mike Hastings that they would like back. They opened the season ranked 20th in the country, looking to get back to the NCAA tournament where they went in Hastings' first year at the helm.
I think a lot of it is the reset that you have on a daily and a weekly. Again, we've talked multiple times in our locker room about, when adversity hits, can you learn from it and can you flush it and get right back to business the next day? And it's no different on the positive. You go through a weekend and you have a positive weekend, either as an individual or collectively, you better reset and get right back at it.
We'll be covering both of these teams from their first face-off, hopefully all the way to the Frozen Four. But for now, from LeBon Arena, Andrew Banstra, News 3 Sports.
Thanks, Andrew. We've got a beautiful day out there. My gosh.
Beautiful day. Very fall-like today, but say goodbye to the fall-like stuff because your summer-like stuff here is coming back.
Hang around, everybody.
Here we go. Look at the 10-day forecast. Back into the upper 70s to lower 80s. Lows in the 50s. So very summer-like and dry. And at 10, we're going to talk a little bit about the fall colors and the bird migration.
Beautiful.
Yeah, turn off those lights tonight, right?
That's right. That's right.
All right, the entertainment tonight coming your way next.
Our next show is coming up at 10. Be sure to join us. And you can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+.